Good evening, dear viewers. Today I'll be narrating 5 allegedly short creepy stories from people around the world. Hope you enjoy. Story 1. I remember the first apartment my then girlfriend, now wife, and I rented. It was kind of odd. It wasn't that it was old or run down, just it felt off. We weren't the only ones who felt it. Our friends who came over said the same. They were not comfortable, like that feeling when someone is staring at you intently. After a while, they preferred to invite us over rather than come to our place. But the worst thing, the thing that made us leave as soon as we could, happened one night. My girlfriend went to take a shower while I was watching TV in the living room. Out of nowhere, she screamed, "Stop!" and she called my name. I ran to the bathroom. The door wasn't locked. I pushed the door open, went inside. There she was, glaring at me through the curtain. She swore I had been pushing the curtain and poking her through it, that she saw my shadow on the other side, and even that she saw a hand reach inside. But I hadn't moved. I had been on the couch the whole time. It took a while to calm her down and to convince her I hadn't been the one there, and to explain to her how could I have opened the door if I had already been inside. We searched the apartment just to be sure. She was shaken for days after that. Not long after, we left that place. I still don't know what that was, and I'm glad that we left that place. Story 2. One year, my wife, our son, and my parents went mushroom picking in the forest. We drove in as far as the road would allow it. I dropped my parents off at a place that we called Point 1, and then pushed another kilometer deeper to Point 2, where there were more mushrooms. The first trip, we found nothing at Point 1 and picked most of our mushrooms at Point 2. Next year, we went again. This time, I reached Point 1 first and started looking around. There were mushrooms everywhere, but we decided to drive to Point 2 anyways. We thought that there might be even more. When we got there, I told everyone to fan out and scout for half an hour, then meet back at the car. Half an hour later, everyone was back. Everyone except my father. There was no cell signal out there, so he couldn't be reached. I have a memory of that forest. I had walked that same forest for years. I told the group to wait by the car and took the little one with me to look for him. We walked until the natural woods gave way to a thick planted spruce stand. Rows and rows of trees packed so close that you couldn't go in any further. The ground was dry. There shouldn't have been mushrooms there, since the trees drank all the moisture. I told my son to call for Grandpa, and he did. Then, from deep inside the forest, we heard a voice. "I'm here, right here." The voice was my father's, exactly as his. I felt the goosebumps on my arms. We called again. 3 times the boy shouted Grandpa, and 3 times that same voice answered from the forest. A place my father shouldn't be able to enter and had no reason to. A cold feeling ran through me. Something was trying to lure us into the trees. I told the boys, "Let's go back to the road," and we walked out. When we reached the edge, we saw my father standing and waving by the car, around 200 to 250 meters away. I told the boy, "Run to Grandpa. I'll be right behind you." I kept looking over my shoulder as I walked. At the car, I asked my father if he heard anything, if he was the one replying to us. He and everyone else said he had come back from the other direction and that nobody had heard any voice. The boy was 9 years old at the time. He swore he heard his grandpa's voice answering from the depths of the forest. I still don't know what the hell that thing was, but whatever it was imitating his voice and tried to pull us deep into the forest. Story 3. There were a lot of things I could tell you, but this is the one I remember best. I was around 13 years old, sitting in the living room drawing. The chimney was on. The house was settled into that late night quiet, you know, the kind that makes every little noise sound huge. Then I felt it, a hand on my shoulder. Something grabbed me, like long nails digging in. I jumped up from fear and the pain and rubbed my shoulder. I told myself it was a cramp or something. Same thing happened for many more nights. After a while, I went to my mother and told her about it. She listened and said she believed me, but she was tired at the time. That same evening, as if to answer to the story, I heard footsteps in the hallway, shuffling. You know, the sound old sleepers make on wooden floor. It went down to the hall, over and over. My door was left slightly open. I could hear the footsteps stop right outside, right beside my door. I froze. My whole body went numb. I didn't move. I was terrified. In the morning, I told my mother about the footsteps. She looked at me and told me that I'd described the exact same thing she'd seen in a dream. She said she'd dreamed of a strange old woman the night before, all in dark clothes with a scarf wrapped around her face. We never found out who she was. This happened many times over several months. The touch at night, the slippered shuffling in the hall. Then, as suddenly as it had started, it stopped. Story 4. This is gonna be light and a short one. This incident happened to my father. He was visiting his grandfather when I was just born. They were all talking about domovoi, a Slavic household spirit. My father began denying their existence, and he said something like, "If you, domovoi, exist, come to me tonight at 12. In the room where my father slept, there was a nightstand with a mirror. A nightstand with legs. It was an old-fashioned piece of furniture with a mirror reaching all the way to the ceiling. It was balanced in such a way that the mirror leaned backwards toward the wall, toward the corner where it stood. Long story short, this huge mirror fell into my father's head. The first thing he did was look at his watch. It was exactly 12. The huge mirror itself didn't cause any injuries and didn't break, other than a slight cut to his lip. As my father said, it was a cut to his lip like the domovoi told him, "Don't talk nonsense." Story 5. When I was a kid, in the early 80s, my cousin Lina told me a story that still gives me chills. She said that when she was about 12 and her younger sister around 10, they used to run down to an old drying barn on the edge of the town, climb the ladder inside and play on the tin roof. If you grew up around the farms, you should know what kind of roof I mean. One afternoon they were up there, chasing each other and laughing, when they heard running behind them, another set of feet pounding the metal. They glanced back, and Elena says what they saw was like nothing human. It had a man's face, but horns like a goat and legs like a goat. It ran upright on two legs. Lena swears it looked half man, half goat. They were terrified. Without thinking, both girls jumped off the roof. My cousin twisted her ankle when she landed, but they didn't stop. They ran screaming towards the home. After a few yards, though, Lena turned despite herself. From where they had been, the barn was still visible, and the thing, if that's what it was, remained on the roof. Lena says it looked like it was laughing at them. They told anyone who would listen, but nobody believed two kids who'd been playing on a barn roof. After that, they never went back to the barn, and they stopped wandering in the woods near it. Lena is in her 60s now, and not in the best health, but still tells the story the same way. She says she knows what she saw, and she swears it was real. So, this is it for tonight, guys. I hope you enjoyed our stories. If you did and would like to hear more such stories, you know what to do. Click on those buttons, like, subscribe, leave a comment with your thoughts, and if you have a story that you'd like to tell us, Send it to my email in the description. Have a good night.